Fair warning, this story is not for the faint-hearted. It begins with something as normal as a headache, but what follows is a dark and twisted tale that will leave you shocked. It's about betrayal, cold planning, and how something as simple as a pain pill led to death and prison. Hey mystery lovers, I'm here to guide you through a real-life story that will make you pause before you ever open a bottle of pills again. If stories like this leave you thinking long after they end, then be kind and show the like button some love, like it just rescued your goat from a burning house. And please, subscribe so you don't miss the next chilling tale, no poison included. Let's get into today's story. It all began on June 5th, 1986, in Auburn, Washington. That's a quiet town not far from Seattle. Nothing much happened there, just the usual life of working people trying to get by. In a small trailer home lived Bruce Nickell, a 52-year-old man who had been struggling with lung disease for years. He had emphysema and was used to having bad days. His wife Stella was 42 and worked at the airport as a security screener. Their lives were not fancy, but they were managing. That evening, Bruce came home feeling unwell. He complained of a headache, something most people wouldn't think twice about. So he reached for Excedrin, a popular pain reliever. He took 4 capsules and waited for the relief to kick in. But something else happened instead. Minutes later, Bruce collapsed. He couldn't breathe. Stella called 911, panic in her voice, and paramedics rushed him to the hospital. They took Bruce to Harborview Medical Center. Doctors tried to help him, but nothing worked. He was gone. The doctors looked at his history and said it was his lungs that failed him. Emphysema had finally taken its toll, so his death was ruled natural. It was sad, but not strange. Stella cried, but then life continued. At least for a few more days. Just 6 days later, on June 11th, another strange death happened. Sue Snow, a 40-year-old woman who worked as a bank manager, woke up early with a headache. Just like Bruce, she reached for Excedrin. She took 2 capsules and went into the bathroom. Her daughter found her collapsed on the floor. Sue was not breathing. Paramedics arrived quickly, but she was already gone. Her death shocked everyone. Sue had been healthy. She had no condition like Bruce. So doctors had to dig deeper. When they opened her up for autopsy, they noticed a bitter almond smell. That smell is often linked to cyanide poisoning. They ran tests, and it was confirmed. Cyanide had killed her. So the investigation began. Police tested the Excedrin bottle she used. The capsules in that bottle also contained cyanide. The news broke, and panic spread. People remembered something similar had happened before the 1982 Tylenol poisonings, where someone tampered with pills and killed several people. Now it seemed like it was happening again. Stores removed Excedrin from their shelves. Bristol-Myers, the company that made the drug, recalled their product. They even offered a reward of $300,000 to find the person behind the poisonings. Then something unexpected happened. A woman stepped forward and said something that changed everything. It was Stella Nickell, Bruce's widow. She called the police and said, "My husband died just like that. He took Excedrin too, and it was from the same batch." That statement got the attention of investigators. She even brought 2 bottles of Excedrin from her house. When they tested the pills, both bottles contained cyanide. Investigators then tested Bruce's body again. This time, they found cyanide in his system. So his death was no longer considered natural. It was now a murder. Investigators wanted to know more. How could this have happened? So they looked at everything. The capsules were examined closely. Inside, they found tiny green particles. These specks didn't belong in medicine. They looked like aquarium algaecide, the kind used to clean fish tanks. Investigators traced the substance and found that Stella owned a fish tank and had bought that same chemical before Bruce died. Things began to add up. Slowly, a picture started forming in the minds of the investigators. They checked Stella's financial records. What they found made the case even darker. Stella had taken out several life insurance policies on Bruce. One was worth $76,000. Another would pay an extra $100,000 if Bruce died from an accident. She had even tried to claim the money not long after his death. Investigators believe she forged Bruce's signature to get the policy. So they thought Stella poisoned Bruce to get the insurance money. But if Bruce died alone, it might raise suspicion. So they believe she tampered with more bottles of Excedrin and returned them to stores. hoping another person would die. That way, Bruce's death would seem random, part of a larger event, not planned. Sadly, someone else did die. Sue Snow. As 1986 went on, investigators dug deeper. In December, they asked Stella to take a lie detector test. She agreed, but she failed. That made the investigators more suspicious. They needed more evidence, and then it came from someone close to Stella. Her own daughter, Cynthia, stepped forward. Cynthia told investigators that months before Bruce died, her mother had talked about poisoning him. She said Stella had borrowed books from the library about poisons, especially cyanide. Cynthia said she saw her mother reading those books and even saw deposits Stella made to her bank account shortly after Bruce died. According to Cynthia, Stella had dreams of using the money to start a new life, maybe open a business or move elsewhere. The investigators checked the library. They found the books Cynthia mentioned, and when they tested the pages, they found Stella's fingerprints on the chapters about cyanide. It was more than just strange. It felt like a plan, slowly being uncovered. On December 9, 1987, Stella Nickell was arrested. She was charged under a federal law passed after the Tylenol case, the Anti-Tampering Act. She faced 5 charges, 2 for murder, 3 for tampering with medicines sold to the public. In April 1988, her trial started in Seattle. The courtroom was full. Reporters, lawyers, neighbors, all curious to hear what had happened. The prosecutor stood and began to speak. Her voice was steady. She said Stella had studied cyanide, bought it, used it, and killed her husband. Then she tampered with public medicine, hoping someone else would die. The FBI showed the jury the library books with Stella's fingerprints. A forensic chemist explained how the green specks in the pills matched aquarium cleaner. The proof was being laid down like puzzle pieces, and each one pointed to Stella. Cynthia took the stand. She looked sad but determined. She said she loved her mom, but she couldn't stay silent. She told the jury about the conversation she had with her mother. She remembered Stella sounding calm, even cold, when she talked about poisoning Bruce. She shared her memories of seeing those library books. She remembered how Stella seemed almost relaxed after Bruce died. The defense tried to fight back. They said Stella called the police herself. Why would she do that if she was guilty? They said Cynthia might have been motivated by the reward money. They reminded the jury that nobody saw Stella poison any pill. They argued that lie detectors were not always reliable. Then the prosecutor did something bold. She asked Stella in front of everyone, "Did you put poisoned Excedrin bottles on store shelves?" Stella said no. The room went quiet. The tension was high. The jury watched closely. After a few days, the jury went to decide. Then they came back. One by one, the foreman read the verdicts. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Guilty, all 5 charges. Stella looked tired. She closed her eyes. The judge sentenced her to 90 years in prison. He said 2 90-year terms would run one after the other. But with parole, she might be released after 30 years. People in the courtroom gasped. Some thought that was too short. Families cried quietly, but the story wasn't over. After the trial, Stella's lawyers started working on an appeal. They said the trial was unfair. They said the jury shouldn't have heard some parts of Cynthia's testimony. They said lie detectors were not proof. They filed the appeal in 1989, but it was denied. The court said the trial had followed proper steps. Years passed. In 2001, Stella filed another appeal. She raised new questions about how the evidence was handled, but again, the appeal failed. Then came 2017. Stella applied for parole. Sue Snow's daughter, Haley, showed up. She faced the board and said with emotion, "She never talks about my mom. Say her name." Her voice was full of pain. The board listened and denied parole. In 2021, Stella tried again. But guess what? She was denied. In 2022, she filed for compassionate release. She said she was sick. She admitted she poisoned Bruce, but she didn't say anything about Sue. That silence mattered. The judge refused the request. So Stella remained in prison. She stayed at FCI Hazleton. She would not be eligible for parole until 2040. By then, she would be 96. So this is the story of Stella Nickell, a woman who tried to use poison to fix her problems, but in doing so, she destroyed lives.
Gist with Olivia.